Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Mataji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Gnananjana Chalakaya Chakshudunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharya Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktabinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. Teachings of Queen Kunti, chapter 7, verse 7. Dangerous encounters. Vishan Mahagne Purushad Darshanad Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Krichrataha Mride Mridene Kamaharathas Rato Draunyas Ratas Tas Mahare Bhirakshitaha. My dear Krishna, your lordship has protected us from a poisoned cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from sufferings during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashwatthama. The list of dangerous encounters is submitted herein. Devaki was once put into difficulty by her envious brother. Otherwise, she was well. But Kunti Devi and her sons were put into one difficulty after another for years and years together. They were put into trouble by Duryodhana and his party due to the kingdom. And each and every time the sons of Kunti were saved by the Lord. Once Bhima was administered poison in a cake. Once they were put into a house made of shellac and set afire. And once Draupadi was dragged out, and attempts were made to insult her by stripping her naked in the vicious assembly of the Kurus. The Lord saved Draupadi by supplying an immeasurable length of cloth. And Duryodhana's party failed to see her naked. Similarly, when they were exiled in the forest, Bhima had to fight with the man-eater demon Hidimba Rakshasa. But the Lord saved him. So it was not finished there. After all these tribulations, there was the great battle of Kurukshetra. And Arjuna had to meet such great generals as Drona, Bhishma and Karna, all powerful fighters. And at last, even when everything was done away with, there was the Brahmastra released by the son of Dronacharya to kill the child within the womb of Uttara. And so the Lord saved the only surviving descendant of the Kurus, Maharaj Parikshit. So what comes to our mind when we hear this? So we heard this paragraph. What thoughts are coming to your minds?
Krishna always protects his devotees.
Yeah. Sorry? Hare Krishna?
So Krishna always protects his devotees.
Krishna always protects his devotees, okay?
In spite of all the difficulties, Queen Kunti still had faith in Krishna that Krishna will protect.
Very good, very good. Okay. In spite of all difficulties, Queen Kunti still had faith that Krishna will protect. Okay. What else?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Without complete surrender, we would have fled from the, like we start cursing, blaming the Lord, the surrender doesn't come. As a material, even as a half-baked devotee, Prabhu, that surrender and that amount of courage to face this thing doesn't come easy. It's only if you're intensely surrendered and you have strong faith in the Lord, can you go through it like Kunti and Pandavas did?
Okay, very nice.
Otherwise, for me to think of it as a materialist person, it's impossible for me. We break down so easily.
Yeah. Yeah, so actually, see, we should see that so multiple things. Whatever all of you said. Actually, when we face with difficulties in our life, we stand in front of the Lord and we pray, saying, "Oh Krishna, why did you give me this difficulty?" And we look at other people who are doing good, and we might even compare, saying that what is this? See, they're also nice, and I want to do bhakti only. Why are you putting me through so much trouble? So whenever we have difficulties, we have to just think about Pandavas. Whenever we have difficulties and we are finding it difficult to go through the situation, we have to simply think of the Pandavas and Kunti Maharani, how much they went through, right? And it will give us faith, it will give us courage to go through the difficulties. Because this world, unfortunately, Dukhalama Shashvatam, Padam Padam Yat Vipadam. There is danger at every step in this material world. What can be done? We've done so much of nonsense in our past lives. Can't help it. We were in ignorance and we did so many things. And today we have to go through the suffering. We have to go through the result. Unfortunately, there is no escape. Of course, there is an escape route. But till we come to that escape point, we have to go through the suffering. Of course, Pandavas were not like us, conditioned souls. Krishna is actually, his most dear devotees. He's putting them through, these situations just to show the world what it is to be dependent on Krishna, what it is, what is the result. What is the result when one surrenders to Krishna? Most of the other things we can see and we can hear and we can say, okay, it's fine. It's not great difficulties. Just think about Draupadi. Every time I tell this, it's the most unimaginable situation for a lady and for anybody for that matter. And we have to put ourselves in her shoes and just imagine what she would have gone through, in that situation. And when did Krishna actually Krishna was just waiting for her to lift both her hands and shout out to him, saying that, Krishna, you are my only resort. There is nobody else. And when she did that, immediately there was immeasurable amount of cloth which was supplied by Krishna. So we should understand the only way is to cry for the Lord's mercy. And when we cry out for the Lord's mercy, then the Lord is happy to extend his helping hand. Now we see this very beautiful. Let me see if I can pull up this photo. Let's see this one. We should always remember this. Krishna rescues his devotee from the ocean of death. We should always remember this. This is our real position, in this material world. We are drowning, literally. And we have to call out. And when we call out, Krishna extends his hand. He's happy to help the devotee. Right? But we have to call out. Actually, Prabhupada says somewhere, what is this chanting process? Chanting process is the process of crying. It's crying for Krishna. Prabhupada says, like a child cries out for his mother. We have to cry. We can imagine how our chanting is today. Far from crying, we are not even paying attention to whom are we offering these prayers. That is our fallen state. But I've experienced this in my life at some scenarios when I literally, I literally cried in front of Krishna chanting, saying that I want your service, but I'm not getting. Right, and Krishna reciprocates. He reciprocates like this, like, and this will not happen. See, we have to understand this, right? How difficult is this? How difficult is it to cry out to Krishna? Is it difficult? What do you all devotees think? Is it difficult to cry out for Krishna? If it is not difficult, why are we not crying? If you are difficult, what is making it difficult to cry out to Krishna? Hmm? What is the difficulty to cry out Krishna, or cry out for Krishna to Krishna? Why? Is it difficult?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
It is not difficult, but we are thinking we can do ourselves. Everything we can manage.
We can do ourselves, okay?
Yeah, that's
We can manage,
Hare Krishna.
okay? Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Okay. So one is we are
think
thinking we are
do-
the. Yeah, just 1 second, Sumantra Mataji. So Gyanendra Prabhu was saying that
Sorry,
we
that
think
I
that
did not
we
put my
can do
hands
it
up.
actually. No problem, no problem. Gyanendra Prabhu was just saying something, maybe audio was not clear. And he was saying that we think that we can do it ourselves. We have the ability. We have the capability to do it, so we can do it ourselves. So why cry out for Krishna? Okay. Yeah, Sumantra Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah, I want to repeat the same thing.
Yeah.
We think we are the doer, and then we always thinking we're getting help from somewhere, and we want to lord it over. So
Mhm.
that doesn't go. So
Mm.
we're always seeking help outside, apart from Krishna. We think, oh, our
Okay. Okay.
friends will help, our parents
Okay.
will help, Prabhuji will help.
Somebody will help. Yeah.
Krishna
Okay.
is the last preference in the list.
Last in the list.
So it's
Okay.
difficult.
So it's difficult. Okay. Okay. What about the other devotees? If you're crying, you can say, I'm crying. Good. I'm happy. Yeah. Yeah, Pratyusha Mataji, you're saying something?
Complacency and lack of gratitude, Prabhu. Because of complacency, we don't try to approach Krishna that we don't understand.
Complacency. Okay. Okay. Lack of gratitude. Okay. So
Also, we
what do
can
we do?
say like
Yeah. Yeah, Nakul Prabhu.
we are not having complete faith, or we don't have that much knowledge because we don't believe in Bhagwan.
Knowledge and faith. Okay, these are two different things. So we don't have knowledge or we don't have faith. Or we don't have knowledge and we don't have faith.
Yeah, we are in duality. We don't consider that we is supreme. So we think we are the one doing everything.
Okay. So you don't have, you're saying because lack of full faith in Krishna. That Krishna can actually protect. Okay, so what do we do? What do we do? We are complacent. We think that, we have the ability and somebody will do. So basically, which means that we are not seeing Krishna's hands in our life. That means I'm going back to this picture. Actually, we are not seeing ourselves drowning. Those who don't know swimming, they can, understand. the fear associated with this picture. And those who don't know swimming, and even if you know swimming, you can look at here in the far off here in this, depth of this ocean where there is nobody here, there, right? And huge waters engulfing us. See, we should understand that actually we will cry when things have gone beyond us. So one way all of you so far are maybe fortunate that your life problems has not put you into such a situation that it has gone beyond you, right? Because for those who have experienced this consistent, difficulties in life to such an extent that, they know that it is beyond us, beyond, it's beyond me, this problem is beyond me, then it's a very natural thing for such a devotee to cry out to Krishna. So now we have to think, saying that what is a better situation in life? Is it living a comfortable life with everything happening our way, or experiencing little difficulty which puts us into such a distress that we will end up calling out to Krishna? Actually, I was thinking about it, saying that a really intelligent person will not wait to go through this difficulty in life. He sees, oh, Shastra is saying Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Oh, Krishna himself is saying, surrender to me. Okay, let me just surrender. Why should I wait for a difficult problem? It's our stupid mind. It's our stupid mind which is actually coming in the way. Our mind is our problem. Our mind is our problem. So the mind has to be treated. Mind requires treatment. And the treatment to the mind is actually these strong words of Srila Prabhupada. There's no other way. There's no other way. Unless we treat ourselves by this medicine of Srila Prabhupada's purports, by his writing, by his Shrava, by his classes, by his, Vani, the mind will continue to just remain stubborn, foolish. It's so easy to understand saying that we are in a helpless situation in this material world. But still our ignorance, our stupidity makes us feel like we are in control. Right? So it's a fortune to be able to cry out for Krishna for help. It's a fortune. It's only fortunate souls who go through this, where they're able to cry out to Krishna. Krishna, you are my only resort. I don't have anybody else. I don't have anybody else. And that is why Draupadi, Pandavas are what they are, and we are where we stand. And see, and their mood of surrender was that just service has to continue. By any of these, service will get disrupted. So cry out. Krishna, natural for them, Krishna. And Krishna reciprocates. Krishna reciprocates. Please, we have to have. If we say that have faith, then people will say, "Oh, how can I have faith?" Try it. Try calling out for help, and see what Krishna does. So will it? It will easily one can get confidence saying that yeah, Krishna is there. Krishna is protecting me. We have to simply try. So every time I read about these Pandavas and Kunti, and I feel like, oh, my problems are so insignificant. And they're such exalted souls. And they're crying out for Krishna. And Krishna is there to help them actually. They don't even have to cry actually. Here Kunti remembers all the dangers through which she passed before the Pandavas had regained their kingdom. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Kaunteya pratijani hi na me bhakta pranashyati. My dear Arjuna, you may declare to the world that my devotee is never vanquished. Krishna says, see, if I declare, people might doubt me. You declare, Arjuna. You declare. You are Pandavas. You've gone through so much of difficulty. And your life shows that may bhakta na pranashyati, my devotee does not get vanquished. What does that mean? That the devotee is never vanquished. Devotee is never vanquished means devotee doesn't ever lose. I mean, his bhakti is never destroyed. His bhakti is only gets enhanced. Devotee is never destroyed. Devotee's devotion is never destroyed. It only gets enhanced. The Pandavas, the sons of Pandu, were great devotees of Lord Krishna. But because people in the material world are interested in material things, the Pandavas were put into many dangers. So Prabhupada is saying, because of materialistic people, sometimes devotees are put into dangers. Their materialistic uncle Dhritarashtra was always planning to kill them and use up the kingdom for his own sons. That was his policy from the very beginning. Once Dhritarashtra constructed a house of lac which was so inflammable that when touched with a match, it would immediately burst into fire. Then he told his nephews and his sister-in-law Kunti, I have constructed a very nice house and you should go live there for some time. But Dhritarashtra's brother Vidura informed them of Dhritarashtra's policies. He wants you to go to that house so that you may burn to ashes. When Dhritarashtra's son Duryodhana understood that Vidura had thus informed the Pandavas, he was very angry. Such is the nature of politics. Then although the Pandavas knew our uncle's plan is to send us into the house and set it afire, they agreed to go there. After all, Dhritarashtra was their guardian and they did not want to be disobedient to the order of a superior. See? You can't imagine. But they dug a tunnel under that house, and when the house was set on fire, they escaped. Another time when the Pandavas were at home, Dhritarashtra gave them poisoned cakes, but they escaped from being poisoned. Then Purushada Darshanat, they met a man-eating demon named Hidimba Rakshasa, but Bhima fought with him and killed him. On another occasion, the Pandavas were cheated in a game of chess in the royal assembly of the Kurus. Dhritarashtra, Bhishma Deva, Dronacharya and other elderly persons were present, and somehow or other, Draupadi, the wife of Pandavas, was placed as a bet. Now, if you lose, the Kauravas told the Pandavas, Draupadi will no longer be your wife. So when the Pandavas lost the game, Karna and Dushasana immediately captured her. Now you no longer belong to your husbands, they told her. You are our property. We can deal with you as we like. Previously, Karna had been insulted during Draupadi's Swayamvara. In those days, a very qualified princess would select her own husband in a ceremony called a Swayamvara. In modern America, of course, any girl may select a husband that she likes. Although for a common girl, this is actually not very good. If you say such things, people don't want to hear. We are not saying, Prabhupada is saying. But even in those times, an uncommon, highly qualified girl who knew how to select a good husband was given the chance to do so. Even this, however, was limited by very strict conditions. Draupadi's father, for example, placed a fish on the ceiling and stipulated that in order to qualify to marry his daughter, a prince had to shoot an arrow and pierce the eye of the fish without directly seeing the fish, but seeing only its reflection in a pot of water on the floor. When these conditions were declared, many princes came to compete, for responding to a challenge is a principle for a Kshatriya, a heroic leader. In the assembly for Draupadi's Swayamvara, Karna was present. Draupadi's real purpose was to accept Arjuna as her husband, but Karna was there and she knew that if he competed, Arjuna would not be able to succeed. At that time, it was not known that Karna was a Kshatriya. He was born the son of Kunti before her marriage, but that was a secret. Karna had been maintained by a carpenter, and therefore he was known as a Shudra, a member of the lowest occupational division of society. Draupadi took advantage of this by saying, in this assembly, only Kshatriyas may compete. I do not want any carpenter to come here and take part in the competition. In this way, Karna was excluded. Karna regarded this as a great insult, and therefore, when Draupadi was lost in the game, he was the first to come forward. He was Duryodhana's great friend, and he said, now we want to see the naked beauty of Draupadi. Present at that meeting were elderly persons like Dhritarashtra, Bhishma, and Dronacharya, but they did not protest. They did not say, what is this? You're going to strip a lady naked in this assembly. Because they did not protest, they are described as Asat Sabhayaha, an assembly of uncultured men. And only an uncultured man wants to see a woman naked, although nowadays that has become fashionable. According to the Vedic culture, a woman is not supposed to be naked before anyone except her husband. Therefore, because these men wanted to see Draupadi naked in that great assembly, they were all rascals. The word Sat means gentle and Asat means rude. Therefore, Kunti Devi prays to Lord Krishna, you saved Draupadi in that assembly of rude men. When the Kurus were taking away Draupadi's sari to see her naked, Krishna supplied more and more cloth for the sari, and therefore they could not come to the end of it. Finally, with heaps of cloth stacked in the room, they became tired and realized she would never be naked. They could understand it is impossible. At first, Draupadi had tried to hold on to her sari. This is our ability, our own ability. That's what you were all saying. I can do it. Complacency. Draupadi had tried to hold on to her sari, but what could she do? After all, she was a woman and the Kurus were trying to strip her naked. So she cried and prayed to Krishna, save my honor. But she also tried to save herself by holding on to her sari. Then she thought, it is impossible to save my honor in this way. And she let go and simply raised her arms and prayed, Krishna, if you like, you can save me. Thus the Lord responded to her prayers. Therefore, it is not very good to try to save oneself. Rather, one should simply depend on Krishna. Krishna, if you save me, that is all right. Otherwise, kill me. You may do as you like. As Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, Manasa Deha Geha Yokichumora Arpilun Tuyapade Nanda Kishore. Beautiful song. My dear Lord, whatever I have in my possession, I surrender unto you. And what do I have? I have this body and mind. I have a little home and my wife and children. But whatever I have, I surrender everything unto you. This is full surrender. Okay, so Bhakti Vinod Thakur. One second, I want to share. Please go. If somebody has time, you can please read these. Just give me a second. Yeah, you can. There is a collection of songs by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, which is called Sharanagati. Okay, you go to KK Songs. I'll put it on the group if anybody wants. KK Songs, authors, literature, sharanagati.html. So actually in this, for all the different stages of surrender, right? Bhakti Vinod Thakur has written songs which can help us actually to understand what is the mood of surrender. Dainya, humility, Atma Nivedana, like that Shadvida Sharanagati we have, no? For those Anukulyasya Sankalpaha Pratikulyasya Varjanam Rakshishati Vishwaso Goptratve Varnam Tata Atmanikshepa Karpanyo Shadvida Sharanagati. So for all those, he has written songs, and then he has written something called Bhajana Lalasa, Siddhi Lalasa. This is greed. So these 6 parts are the 6 parts of surrender. Dainya, Atma Nivedana, Goptratve Varna, Avashya Rakshibe Krishna, Vishwasa Palana, Bhakti Anukula Matra, Kariyera Svikara, Bhakti Pratikula Bhava, Varjanagnikara. So this is all the 6 aspects of surrender. So for each of those, there are 4 songs. Atma Nivedana 8 songs, Dainya 7 songs. We should go through this. We will actually come to understand what is this, what does this surrender actually mean? And once somebody surrenders, then he will come to that stage of actually his greed to achieve Krishna increases. Greed to do service to Krishna increases. Then greed for perfection increases. And so it's a beautiful, collection of songs, Sharanagati. So we have to, this is full surrender. So this is from those songs. This particular snippet is from those songs. This is full surrender. So we should fully surrender to Krishna. Unfortunately, we are we want to take everything, we want to make everything is for my convenience. However I want to do it, I will do it. In spiritual life, I will practice it on my terms. However I want to practice, I will practice. There are rules, regulations. I don't care for rules and regulations. This is not surrender. And if we don't surrender to Krishna, Krishna is not going to protect us. Krishna is not going to protect us. Krishna was waiting for Draupadi to lift both her hands in the air and call out, Krishna, if you like, you can save me. So full surrender means like a child simply depending on parents. My parents will protect me. My job is to just simply call out for them. And surrender means then doing what the Lord says. So we'll discuss this surrender a little more in tomorrow's, because I think the rest of the purport is on surrender. Yeah, we'll discuss this surrender because actually it is said that when Prabhupada was present in this material world, this used to be the most important topic for discussion, is Sharanagati, surrender. Unfortunately, today in ISKCON, we don't talk about surrender. People run away. What is all this surrender and all that? Just let me live life however I want. And alongside, I will do bhakti. Why go through all this trouble of surrender? Yeah, we can do that. We can come back to this material world once more. Because we are not going to achieve perfection this way, right? So then question is really saying that, is it so important for us? Is perfection so important? Why is it important for us? Maybe it's not important. Maybe material happiness is important. Maybe material position is important. Maybe some other nonsense is important for us. That means that we don't want Krishna. Simply put, we don't want Krishna. Because Krishna is not cheap. Getting Krishna is not cheap. So we need to decide what we want. I mean, we want Krishna, or we want things of this material world. We can decide. Like somebody was telling me, all kinds of devotees are there. Yeah, all kinds of devotees are there. We can decide whether we want to be amongst all those devotees who want to come back to this material world again, or we want to finish this life and go back to Krishna. It is our choice. And this mood will depend on the kind of devotees we associate with. If you associate with devotees who say, hey, enjoy life. Why all this? This is all too much of bhakti. We don't want too much bhakti. We want little bhakti. Yeah, it's good to have little bhakti in our life. Okay, it's your wish. We are all independent souls. We have the freedom, free will to do what we want. But if somebody saying that no, I don't want to come back to this rotten material world. How many of us are here are happy to come back to this material world again? One more life, one more lifetime. And maybe in a very comfortable situation with lot of money, lot of comfort, everything, whatever you want. You have to think about it. So for those who are akinchana, that's what Krishna Prabhupada will talk about next, akinchana. They will not want this. They will want only Krishna, nothing else but Krishna. And then they will do Tivra Bhakti. They will associate with devotees who are doing bhakti in that way. And then they will try to achieve perfection in this life. So like I was saying yesterday, like-minded association. So we have to decide what kind of life, what kind of bhakti, what kind of devotees we want to associate with. Whether I want to do lukewarm bhakti, whether I want to do Tivra Bhakti, Whether I want to do full surrender, whether I want to do no surrender, it is our choice. We can decide. But only those who do full surrender, those who do Tivra Bhakti, only they can achieve perfection in one life, not others. That we can be very sure. Yeah, okay. So I'll stop there. If anybody has anything to say, kindly.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. This is Nayan.
Hare